So let's talk about that opening scene in episode 2 and what made it so challenging. You had mentioned that you're shooting it in California and in Mexico, so there's one challenge. But yeah, just kind of walk me through first of all, why? Why did that happen?
It's one of the logistical challenges with filmmaking is time and money always are the main guides to what we do in terms of how we do things. And so it was determined as we were shooting that we just couldn't afford to keep shooting in America. We knew we were going to be going to Mexico anyway for a lot of the material. And so and in a lot of the locations we weren't finding in California, like the garbage dump, for instance, it just doesn't exist. You can't have that much open waste anywhere in America. Yeah. So they made the decision, hey, you know what, let's pull down to Mexico. And we went to Mexicali right on the border and right over the border, and found a lot of these amazing locations. The abandoned mall that Ali and Dina go into and see all the homeless people, the homeless encampment, that's massive, broken down, again, palace of consumerism that is broken down. Again, it's just a visualization of Ali's worldview. That was in Mexicali. And then, there's this sequence at the end of episode 1. That's this they're driving around. I won't give it away. It's kind of this exciting piece with dad and daughter. And then so some of that was in California, up above LA. And then some of it were in streets in Mexico, just again, because of the scheduling and all that stuff. And then as they come to this mall, the intersection outside the mall was in one part of Mexicali. The mall was in a different part of Mexicali. And, we built an extra window up above the intersection to shoot through to make it look like he's, when they go in the mall, they look down on this intersection, they see police arriving. There's all these things. And then there's the sewer shot, which we're looking into a sewer and working out of a sewer. That was built in a parking lot somewhere else. I don't even remember what part of the country we were in at that point. And so, the continuity of lighting was obviously a real challenge. And that was why, that I picked locations that we could control, and we put all those street lights you see, everything was us. That was not, It was not using existing lighting. It was meant to look like we were using existing lighting, but actually it was very controlled. And I also knew we'd be covering a lot of ground. We start with this butterfly on a Coke can. We travel a whole city block, to then, reveal the car driving by. So I knew that we were going to be seeing huge swaths of streets at night. And I needed control. I couldn't rely on what the world was going to give us. So.
Yeah. All right. So there's a bunch of things there I want to get into real quick. Okay. So we'll probably work backwards because it's the freshest in my mind. But you had mentioned that we're seeing a lot of street lights in this scene, exterior, outside. You're saying those are yours. Are you talking about just changing the bulbs and fixtures? Or are you bringing actual street lamp fixtures and putting them in the pavement? What do you mean by that?
Both.
Okay.
There were some poles there that we just replaced. They had some modern, again, more modern LED white lights, that we just took them out and put our own sodium vapor lights in. There were some in, when you know you're not going to see the base of the stand, art department can put poles up and then you just put your light, in the grand scheme of things, what the crazy things we do as filmmakers, putting a pole up and a light on it is actually not as hard as it kind of sounds if, you and I were to go do it on the street randomly by ourselves. But when you have an infrastructure, the art department can get those things done pretty quickly.
Yeah, and like you said, you're not seeing the base of it. A lot of it is in really soft focus, so you can get away with that type of stuff.
Totally.
All right, so we've got that. Now, the next thing I wanted to talk about is, you had said that over time you realized that budget and time and all that stuff sort of brought you to Mexico for some of these things. Did you know from the beginning that you were going to be shooting this sequence in so many different areas?
No, we actually scouted all of it in the U.S. Okay. We spent hours planning for completely different locations, and then reality came and smacked us in the face, and we had to basically redo half of our planning. And so it was something that I brought my gaffer, this amazing guy, Paul Samaniego, who was instrumental in, you know, setting the look with me in the States. But also I said to production, okay, if we're going to do this, I need to bring him, because he knows, you know, everything from, you know, he's sitting there. We knew by the time we knew we were going to switch locations, then it became, okay, we have to measure the distance of the lights to the actors. We need to get exact, you know, stop readings, and we need to know, because we're going to be cutting between, you know, a close up in this country and a close up in this country, and they're in the same scene. How do we make that work? And so it really was so instrumental to have someone else there who could just focus on the lighting, the technical aspect of matching, you know, and he speaks Spanish as well. And so he could, work with the Mexican crew to make everyone kind of understand what we were going for, get them on the same page. But it was really, you know, it was a big technical undertaking, because you have to, as a viewer, if you're you can't, if you see the seams, you know, you're taken out of it. So,
I mean, I didn't see the seams. I would never have thought it was shot in two different countries. You know, there are obviously moments where you like, clearly they have to stitch this together, because you can't do it all in one shot. But never in a million years would I think you were bouncing from country to country. That is crazy. And when you know you need to do that, what are your biggest concerns?
I think it's just, again, consistency, right? It's like, we knew we were going to, you know, as soon as we started to look at locations in Mexico, we said, oh, wow, okay, these are amazing. You know, it's not a problem of not finding interesting places. It was just, you know, especially when you're on a location scout, you know, you have to imagine so much, right? It's like when we all location scout wherever we're going, it's, the final product is in your head. It's not on the street right there. So you're looking at a street that, you know, you go there at night, whatever, and it's a black hole. There's nothing there. There's not enough light to shoot. Or if there is light, it's not in the right place. And you say, okay, how can I make this, first of all, look the way I want it to look for the story, and block out the way that the actors are going to be moving and all that stuff. And then there was this extra layer to it of saying, okay, now how can I make this location here and this location over here feel like the same location, even though we're going to be shooting it with a completely different crew. We're going to be shooting it months apart. We're going to be in a different country. And so it just took a lot of imagination, and then a lot of kind of it's pretty tedious, actually, just the going over and over where the lights are, how they're, you know, where they are in relation to the actors, the color temperatures of the sources, because, you know, even in, you know, these old sodium lights and these old mercury lights and this metal halide lights, all these things, you know, from unit to unit, they have a different color shift. You know, they're not manufactured to be film lights. So, you know, saying, okay, this is a scene, this is the light we use to key, you know, this very specific light is the one we use to key these characters here. We're going to bring it down to Mexico with us, because that's, you know, that we want to capture that quality, because, you know, the one that we get in Mexico just might not burn the same. You know, there might be an older lamp. It might have different plastic on the front of it. You just never quite knew what you were going to get. So it just was you know, there was a lot of worrying and a lot of just kind of going over and over and over the plan. So, yeah.